Hello everybody, we're at Hyundai's factory in the Czech Republic, where the Iotas, the Tucson and the Kona are built. Actually, we came here to drive the Kona electric, but there was a surprise for us. The Hyundai Santa Fe, which everyone is very curious about and which has been talked about a lot lately. Santa Fe is not on sale yet. But here, the last version before its mass production is right in front of us. I had shared the images of this car on my Instagram account beforehand, and I got incredible reactions. Some liked it a lot, some hated it, especially the back. To be honest, I liked the front a lot, but I didn't like the back as much. Although, in these types of cars, a little bit of photogenicity is important. Therefore, it is very, very important to see the back of it live. Now, I've changed my mind a little bit. I hope it looks much more beautiful in the videos. Let me briefly explain the Santa Fe. Actually, the Santa Fe is Hyundai's biggest SUV. It's the biggest SUV that Hyundai sells, especially in Europe. It seats 7 and this is the 6th generation. It's been in production since 2000. When you look at it, you see a gigantic automobile. You see a huge body. But when you compare it to the previous Santa Fe, you realize that the dimensions haven't actually grown that much. You know how much it's grown? It's only 4.5 centimeters in length. But the wheelbase, the distance between the front and rear tires, is 5 centimeters. So it's grown 1.5 centimeters more than the total length. What does that mean? It means that the volume inside has grown much more. Now let's talk a little bit about the details. The front end has a very distinctive design. Hyundai has been making very different models in recent years. Now, when you look at the automotive industry, each new model is not very different from the previous one. The left and right sides are a little more rounded. The headlights and taillights change a little more. Here is the new model. But this car looks like a completely different car, even though it is based on the same platform, the same infrastructure of the previous generation. Look, we have two H-shaped daytime running lights here, but the actual headlights are inside these. Now, actually, as you can see from the previous press photos, there was a complete LED that lit up and was a continuation of that. You know, most of Hyundai's latest models already have an LED that lights up here, but for some reason it didn't pass the Euro NCAP tests, so this is how it will be sold in Europe. In the American versions, the LED here will continue in the same way. Now you see an H in the headlights, the H for Hyundai. But look, there is the same one at the bottom. Actually, there is a big H there too. Again, as we have seen from Kona, there are active air ducts here. These open when the car starts and help a lot in terms of cooling the engine. There are active air ducts here again. These not only work aerodynamically, but also cool the tires and brakes. So these are also active. The design of the car is generally cube-shaped. In fact, those cube angular designs continue to the fender openings over there. But when you look inside the fender, it is actually round here too. There are very different, incredibly different lines in the car. Hyundai's recent cars always have such strange lines. There's a Santa Fe logo here. This looks like a vent, but it's not. The mirrors are very aerodynamically designed, because the square appearance of this car can actually look like an aerodynamic disaster, right? But do you know that this car has a lower wind resistance coefficient than the previous Santa Fe? In fact, it has a very successful wind resistance coefficient of 0.29. What does that mean? It means that the car is more successful than the previous generation in terms of economy, performance, and wind noise on the road. Let's take a look at the tires. In Europe, they come in 20 inches, but you can also get 21 as an option. Again, it has off-road looking rims. They have rims that go a little bit inward, but the 21-inch ones in the press photos looked much better. The door handles are also square and angular. Generally, there is a situation like this in design languages. You make the car square, but you don't change the door handle, for example. It can still remain round there. You don't change the mirror. Those parts can remain round. Hyundai has made everything, including the mirrors, in the shape of a cube. We talked about the length of the car. We mentioned that it's grown about 4.5 centimeters. The height has also grown a bit more. I don't have an exact number, but I can say that it's a bit bigger than the old Hyundai Santa Fe. In fact, we can understand the detail of this better when we get inside. It's as if the door has come all the way here. Look, it's glass, but here, the glass continues inside. It has a very different design language. Here again, we have a stun again. On this side, we have a huge glass again. It goes all the way to here and back, but it looks like it's all glass, a bit like Staria. Do you know what this glass means? It means that the car is a 7-seater, and the passengers in the third row of seats are very important. Now, this is a different design of the car. Look at the back of the car. It's really long. It's almost as long as the front door. That's a detail that most cars don't have. It makes the rear end look a bit more blunt, a bit different. Now, the most controversial part of the car is the rear. I mean, the back is a bit like those old Sanyons, you know, flat, stumpy. It looks a bit like them. It's a bit like a Land Rover Discovery. I mean, if we talk about the car in general, the back looks very blunt like this, but it looks stumpier in the photos. Now, when you see it live, yes, it's not very beautiful. The eye has to get used to it, but I can't say it's ugly. The letter H again, look, it's here too. It continues in the same way with the headlights. LEDs are already in these. In the center, there is a blackness that seems to continue here. At the bottom, you can see the reverse gear and turn signals. It looks a bit longer and wider. There's a huge Santa Fe lettering that goes all the way across. And there's an inscription here showing which engine the car now has. It says plug-in here. Some of them, you know, Hyundai models, say electric. For example, like the Kona, or if it says nothing, you can understand that this car is not a hybrid. Santa Fe will come to Turkey. It will arrive around the second city of 2024. Sales in Europe will be around the same time, probably a little bit earlier, and it will come to us with a hybrid 6-liter turbo engine like the current Santa Fe, with a 4-cylinder engine, 230 horsepower combined from the combustion engine and the electric motor. Just like the current Santa Fe, it's the only option. It only comes with 7 seats. Let's take a look at the trunk. Of course, an electric trunk is a must for this car, because it's one of the top models of the Hyundai brand. When the third-row seats in the back are reclined, there is a huge trunk. They haven't announced the exact liters yet. There are no such very clear figures in the data about the car. Seats, like this. And the third-row seats are said to be very, very ambitious in this car. We'll test that briefly. First, let's remove the hood. What do we have here? There's probably a battery here. There's the tire inflation apparatus. And there's a small area here. I think this area is probably the place to put the Panzot here. But when you don't use the back seats, when you close them, it's obvious that there's an incredibly large trunk. So what do? Let's test the third row of seats. We're in the third row of seats. Of course, the second row seats are not in the very back. But when you look at the front, you can see that there is a lot of legroom there as well. I'm 90 feet tall, so I am not a person of normal standards, but I think a 70 or an 80 person could sit here more comfortably. Right now, there is about 4 fingers in front of my knees. In terms of head distance, you sit a little bit like this, especially in the third row seats. But here, look, I am sitting upright and I have a serious headroom. So I am very comfortable in the back, definitely not claustrophobic. I just mentioned it. The windows here have solved this job well. Inside, you can go very comfortably in the third row seats like this. I mean, I can say that this car has one of the best third row seats among the cars, with third row seats I have ever sat in. In the back, of course, passengers have been thought of. There are cup holders here. There are USB-Cs on both sides. There is ventilation. There's even zone 3 air conditioning. You can also adjust it here. And there's a 220-volt socket here, which I think is a very useful detail that's been in a lot of Hyundai's models lately. Yes, second row seats. You know, I moved it a little bit back, so of course it's not very comfortable like this. But in normal life, if you don't use the third row seats, look here. It's just bizarre. One of the figures given about this car is the legroom here. With the increased distance between the front and rear tires, the legroom here has increased by about 1.5 inches, and the headroom has increased by about 1.5 inches. Compared to the previous Santa Fe, it's soft in here. Here's the brushed aluminum again. Here's the wood here, the whites here. Look at the cup holders here. Inside the car, it feels like you're traveling in a VIP car. Even the upholstery on the roof looks like Nubuck. There are 2 cup holders here. There's seat heating in 3 stages. And here we have, there's a curtain. What's that? I understand you can open this compartment and the refrigerated compartment from 2 sides. One here. And here. And that's a detail I've never seen in a car before. There's another very strange detail. Do you see this? This is the first time I've seen a USB-C port on a seat, which allows the cables to extend all the way from the front on long journeys, especially when you have kids sitting in the back or an iPad here. And here too, it offers you a nice space. I see this for the first time. These are very good details. As I said, this seat can go forward and backward quite a lot. Again, towards the back. You can lie down and straighten up like this. By the way, if you're traveling with 2 people in the back, and that's how you can open your armrest. I like it a lot. It's very spacious in the back. There's no shaft tunnel, by the way. Look, it's straight. Then what should we do? Let's go to the front. Let's talk about the real details there. I feel very comfortable in the latest Hyundai models. There's been a huge improvement. Tucson, Kona, these are completely different cars, spacious cars. But this one, this is another world. The materials used inside, I mentioned it at the back. The details here that look like wood, the leather here, the stitching details on the top, the different colors, the softness, the ambient mirror throws here, as if they were in that brushed aluminum. These are very nice details. It's also very different that the ambient mirror throwing is also vertically here. By the way, this is the first time I've seen the car. I saw it about 15 minutes before you did. I knew a few things. I apologize if I have a look of surprise on my face, or if there are some places I missed. Now here again, there is a slightly curved screen, like we see in recent Hyundai models. It is a single screen, and it is divided into two. This is multimedia, reversing camera, 360 cameras, and here is a screen where you see the car's data and dials. Here are the buttons for the climate control, the air conditioning, which is a multi-button system that you can adjust from here as a screen. At the same time, you can also control the seats and so on from here. Above there are the shortcut buttons for the radio, the multimedia system. At the bottom, there is a button for the car's driving modes, hill descent support system, camera parking system, on-off sensors or auto hold. They have made this area very large. Here again, there is a situation that is common in recent cars. I think this is a very important thing. There are two wireless charging stations here. You put both of them here. You and your passenger can charge your phone at the same time. Two cup holders. Here is a huge compartment, as I mentioned earlier. It's quite deep and wide, and it's cooled. These are very nice details. In addition to that, look, there is also a huge storage area down here. The storage areas don't end here. Of course, there is a torpedo here. There's a huge compartment here. Again, you can put documents, keys, wallets, and so on. This is not enough either. When you open this, there is another compartment that is not very deep. I really like the car. I really like it. I'm amazed. It's the latest Hyundai models again. As we saw in Kona, the gear lever has been moved from here to here. Of course, it has provided that spaciousness here. The steering wheel is a bit big, but different. In other words, a standard Hyundai steering wheel is not used. There are already all the menus here. Here are the remaining buttons of the transmission, that is, the headphones. The rest of the levers and so on are the same in the car. What else is there? What else is there? I'm looking. On this side, there's the trunk opener, e-brake, and so on. Of course, the seat heating, cooling, massage, and so on are all here. You can also adjust the memories from here. In fact, I think when you look at those two, let me see the seat settings. No, that's not how it works. Maybe there is. I don't know. To summarize, Santa Fe will come to Turkey in the second half of the year, 2024. I don't have any information about the price yet, so I think we can agree that it will be a bit more expensive than the current Santa Fe. But the car is very different in terms of design, quality of materials, probably the way it handles on the road, the sound, and so on. So it's very different from any other SUV on the street. That's what I like about it. You have to be a bit different. So I congratulate Hyundai officials, designers, and all the executives who approved this design. I thank them. Make such different cars. We like the Santa Fe very much. I hope you like the car too. I hope you also like the video. If you like the video, don't forget to press the like button. Share it with your spouse and friends around you. We think you are already subscribed to our channel. If you are not a subscriber, if you subscribe and especially click on that bell icon and turn on your notifications, you will be one of the first to watch every time we upload a video like this. Thank you very much. See you soon. I'm waiting for comments below. Take care of yourselves.